Seymour! The Paper Mario is on fire!
No, Mother, it's just the Northern Lights.
Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Nintendo recently announced a brand new Paper Mario game. They just shadow dropped it on Twitter. Not many people were expecting it. It's called Paper Mario: The Origami King, and this thing is releasing in mid-June, so it's coming pretty soon. I have a history with the Paper Mario franchise. I have a love for the first 3 games, so I wanted to give my thoughts on this one and some expectations and see where this might be going. If you're not familiar with Paper Mario, it started with the Nintendo 64 game. It started out as a somewhat traditional RPG style game where you had a partner, you went on an adventure, you had to collect a certain amount of items to unlock a power or a door to defeat the final boss. Back in the early 2000s, I rented the first game a lot on Nintendo 64. I loved the hell out of it. After that, I got Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, which is basically an expansion on the first game. Had new worlds, more varied worlds, more mechanics. There was a lot more going on in this game. More partners, more powers, just lots of cool stuff that they added to it. In my opinion, it's the definitive Paper Mario experience so far. After that, I can understand why Nintendo didn't want to just keep doing the same kind of thing over and over again. They added a lot of new ideas to the Thousand-Year Door. So just doing the Thousand-Year Door and Paper Mario Nintendo 64 over and over again, I can see why they didn't want to do that. So they wanted to start experimenting with the next 3 games. Their first experiment is definitely my favorite. Super Paper Mario, while not as much an RPG as a strange kind of platformer thing with light RPG elements, and they kept the partner system, is a really excellent game. For what it is, it's not as traditional as the first 2 Paper Marios. It's not much like before that Mario RPG or even the Mario and Luigi series. But it is something truly special. If you haven't tried Super Paper Mario, I highly recommend it. Very wacky, very fun, just don't expect a traditional Paper Mario game. Now, before we jump into Origami King, I wanted to talk about the ones that people aren't so hot on as well, and why Paper Mario is such a hot topic as far as game quality and what they're doing with the series in general. We have Sticker Star on 3DS, and we also have Color Splash for Wii U. Those are the 2 latest ones. Now, I haven't played these 2 games. Yeah, I know. So I can't say exactly how I would enjoy both of these games if I actually played them. So far I haven't had the chance with Sticker Star. I've heard most people say it's the weakest game. I do want to check out Color Splash sometime, but I just don't have a Wii U at the moment. But as far as I've seen people say, and as far as I've watched from seeing lots of gameplay of both of them, they just don't quite mesh together the way I think Nintendo was going for. Super Paper Mario was such a huge departure, so it did make people annoyed at first, but I think a lot of people look back at it more fondly just because it did something drastically different, but also in a very fun, interesting way that was just totally different. The problem with Sticker Star and Color Splash is just the fact that they're too similar to the original 2 games, and the fact that they have turn-based combat, yet at the same time they do things that make the games feel a little less unique, less dynamic, and less like a big adventure like the first 2 felt. So that's kind of where we're sitting at with the series right now. We're sitting with 2 games that some people enjoyed, but most people just weren't too fond of. And even before that, we had a game that people were very divisive on. People are a little more positive about it now, but even then there are some purists that are not so hot on that game either. I watched the Origami King trailer a few times when it dropped, but I'm going to watch it again and give some final thoughts on what we're seeing here in this trailer. My expectations I don't think are going to be ridiculous. Like I said, a big departure I already liked in the series. Doing something a bit new that's not quite just the same thing as the first 2 games is something that could work really well if they balance things out right. But I think what Nintendo's going to need to do is take what works about classic Paper Mario and what may have worked in the newer games, balance them out a little better, and I think we're going to have more people pleased. I think I'll be more happy with it and more excited to actually play it. But like I said, I'm going to watch the trailer again and give my thoughts, and we'll go from there. One thing I'm already liking about this game in comparison to the last two is the fact that we're actually getting some varying villains again. Villains that feel different from just your Mushroom Kingdomites. Of course, in the first game, you had some unique Mushroom Kingdom-based characters, and the main villain was Bowser, but it felt appropriate for the first game in the series. Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario had some unique, wacky characters as well, although this game doesn't seem to be going as far as those ones when it comes to wacky, different kinds of characters. We are at least getting what seems to be like a different race of paper characters with these origami people. Some of them might be based on pre-existing Mario characters, like the Origami Peach here, but at least we're getting something a little different that makes it a little more menacing and not just the regular Mushroom Kingdom characters we're used to seeing in most Mario games. Now, even just from watching gameplay of Color Splash, one thing that most people can tell you, and I totally agree with, is that the game was itself graphically and stylistically was gorgeous. The papercraft aesthetic, the paint, and everything it had going for it was just so beautiful, so cool to look at, and for some made up for some of the lamer gameplay elements. This game has about the same going for it, but definitely a big improvement. I can tell even just by looking back at some Color Splash gameplay to this one that they've even made some improvements on that, so that's very exciting. I'm expecting to see some really cool looking worlds in this. In the first three Paper Mario games, you had some Mushroom Kingdom based characters and some unique ones. And even if they're based on Mushroom Kingdom characters, they always gave them some kind of defining trait, something visually to differentiate them from other Mushroom Kingdom characters. They usually also gave them a pun based on their original character type name to make them stand out a little more. So here where you see this guy who's named just Bob-omb, that annoys me a little bit. People have pointed this out before me, but that annoys me a little bit. Again, like I said, with striking a balance between what worked before and what works now for Nintendo and their creative process, he may just be named Bob-omb, but the way he presents himself in this little clip, and the fact that we pretty much know for at least 95% fact that we're going to have partners on the adventure and battles, which is definitely going to be a huge boost in variety in this one versus the last two games, that's something I could see working. If they can make a unique character, even if he's just named Bob-omb, as long as he has witty, memorable dialogue, kind of like we did have in Color Splash, but if we can keep that witty, memorable dialogue, have them around with Mario a little more often than the last two games, I could see it working. So with stuff like the river rafting here and the giant arms Mario, looks like we're going to have some more mini games and stuff. That's something that's been there since the beginning. Always stuff I'd like to see in a Paper Mario. I really like how world traversal works in the Paper Mario series, and it looks like stuff with the big arms and all this other stuff going on is going to keep it interesting, so that's good too. I'm also so far really liking the variety in worlds here. I tend to like it in Mario RPGs and RPGs in general if they can at least make the world, even if there's a world select. What I didn't like about Color Splash seeing it is that I didn't like how there's a level select with smaller kind of form-fit levels. That doesn't really work in my opinion for a Mario RPG. Even if you're going to have a selection of different worlds, at least make them very big. Make the way you travel from each world to world feel like they're interconnected in some way. Like even in Thousand Year Door, when you travel to a new area, even if you're technically loading into a different area, like if you went to Glitzville, you flew in a blimp there. You didn't just choose it in a level select. So if they can do something like that, make things feel a little more interconnected, or even have it be one big world, that's something I'd love to see as well. Now, we don't see much of the battle system, but I'm already pretty positive on it so far. So basically you have this ring thing going on, you have to match enemies and then you can fight them in a seemingly turn-based battle system. Now, while the turn-based battle system hasn't gone anywhere, I think that this is something that will be a little more in that balance like I was mentioning before, something a little more familiar yet different at the same time. I know that Nintendo wants to innovate, but in the last two games they kind of just went too far with the card mechanic and a lot of things that people didn't like that took away some of the strategic elements. I think especially if you can have a partner in battles, which it seems like you can, that with this new battle system, it'll actually be pretty exciting to see something different from the first 2 games. I'm totally fine with it not just being like the first 2 games' battle mechanic. If the battle system makes sense and is strategic, easy to learn, hard to master kind of deal, then I could see it being a lot of fun. Well, I just finished the trailer again. So basically, I think this game's gonna be pretty cool. Do I know if it's gonna live up to the first 3? I'm not sure yet. But from the short trailer, I'm thinking that it's showing a lot more promise than Sticker Star or Color Splash did. I think that Nintendo's finally realizing what the balance they need to hit is. That's actually gonna please classic Paper Mario fans and new fans as well. Something that's fun to explore, but with some strategic battles like the first 2 games, but something that's different in a way that actually accentuates the experience. Either way, as a classic Paper Mario fan, I am actually looking forward to this game so far. I really hope that we can see more of the battle system and get another trailer before the game drops. Those are my basic thoughts on this game. Definitely let me know what you guys think about it as well. Are you looking forward to it? Are you concerned about anything in particular after watching the trailer a few times? Do you have any memories with Paper Mario? And what are your expectations based on those? I'd like to hear from you. Those are my thoughts. If there's another trailer, I probably won't make a follow-up video. I just wanted to give my initial thoughts based on the first trailer and what I'm expecting to potentially see. But I might end up making a video when the game drops, so look forward to a possible video on that, and look forward to more videos coming soon. See y'all later.